Thank you for joining the WealthRabbit podcast. My name is Charles.
I'm Jason.
I'm Adam.
We got producer Caleb. He's got a lot to edit on the last episode.
Got a lot to edit. Sorry about that, guys. Today we're talking about fiduciaries. So
The F word.
the F word, the big F word, and it means so much.
But before we get there,
tease
like
it
and
out.
subscribe us on YouTube.
Yeah. Thank
Press
you for
the button.
listening.
It's somewhere in one of these corners.
Like, subscribe, follow,
Yes.
Yeah.
whatever.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. It really helps.
You know, Charles, Adam and I are fiduciaries.
You're both fiduciaries.
We're
I
both
thought just he
fiduciary.
was a fiduciary. You were a
No.
fiduciary as well?
No, I'm a
No?
fiduciary as well.
You are?
Correct. Yes.
So where do you, how long have you been a fiduciary?
I guess since 2011.
Okay. So that was when you became a CPA?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's
so
when you became
CPA
an
is a
F word?
fiduciary.
Yeah. That's when I became an F word. Yeah.
A big effort?
But fiduciaries are important. And when you, you know, a lot of professionals are not fiduciaries.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we should start with what is a fiduciary. So the biggest thing with a fiduciary is we have to put your interest in front of our own. I think that's the definition. of fiduciary.
That's close enough, yes.
Yeah. So basically, as a professional, as a tax professional, I have to, you know, give advice that I think is in your best interest, not my best interest. Same thing with financial advising. We can't sell you products we don't believe in or don't think it's the best thing for you.
Gotcha.
You would think that would be normal,
But it's not.
but it's not.
So let's describe a situation in which someone is not acting like a fiduciary. So like, or in which a situation in which you had to basically
Yeah.
act in that way
well,
when it.
I think a lot of times we see it in insurance. That's probably the biggest one. If someone tries to sell you any whole life insurance, like that's probably not
that
being a
could be a whole
fiduciary.
episode.
That could be a whole
That could be a
episode.
whole episode.
Well, I mean, it happens. I mean, it doesn't just happen in the financial industry either. You know, there's fiduciaries. Typically, lawyers are fiduciaries. Typically, real estate agents are fiduciaries. You know, it's not just in this accounting and wealth management world where the fiduciaries come into play. I mean, I guess if we want to circle it back to WealthRabbit and investments, you know, if we were to sell you a product or if we were to get you in something on our platform or application that would benefit us and not you as our customer, we would not be acting in your best interest.
So essentially, like plans that you didn't really care about, but they offered good fees or something.
Correct.
Like that. Like
So,
a plan that you
yeah.
wouldn't necessarily want to invest in yourself.
Yeah, we're
but
trying to make
they had
more
a good
money
fee
off of
structure.
you,
Yeah.
so we're going to put you in.
Let's say, you know, I'm going to either, you know, give you this carrot or that carrot that you ate 3 bites out of for the same price.
I don't know. It's a thicker carrot.
It is a thicker carrot. Let's do
more-
we have a scale in here where we can weigh how many grams this carrot is? But
don't.
basically, you know, if
is
we
a great
offer
analogy.
you 2 of the same thing and one is going to pay us more and
And you charge the same price for
you
it.
say charge the same price, you know, that's
Yeah, I think, you know, in a past episode, we talked about mutual funds and how, you know, a lot of the mutual funds, they charge higher fees. And some of that's good and bad.
Yeah.
But our goal as part of WealthRabbit, it's like, hey, we're going to design portfolios that are in your best interests. And we have to, because we're literally fiduciaries. Like we can lose our licenses if we don't.
You would do it anyway.
Yeah.
But on top of that,
Yeah.
you're legally bound
we're
to do
legally
it.
bound.
And I think-
We're both CFPs as well, certified financial planners, which mean you are held to the fiduciary standard.
Okay.
So in order to call yourself a certified financial planner, a CFP, you must be the F word.
Yeah. And I think it's important for the listeners, the bad bunnies, you know,
That's right.
is, you know, you should ask, that should be one of the first questions you ask if you're dealing with a professional.
That's kind of baseline. Like, are you legally required to give me good advice?
Yeah. And if they say no, then that should be a
That should be a
red
conversation
flag.
ender right there.
Yeah,
I mean, is there a situation in which somebody?
I mean, there could be. I mean, there could be. But most likely, you want a fiduciary on your side. I mean,
It's hard to think of a scenario in which
Yeah.
you wouldn't, unless it was just like basically somebody with no training who's handling your investments. Or
Yeah, it's not so much that, but it's just they.
I mean, you could have someone who's been in the industry for 40 years who's
Yeah.
not a fiduciary. I mean, they
Okay.
they know what they're doing. I mean,
Gotcha.
they've been doing
They're
it.
selling you something that, you might need. You might. I would go back to life insurance. You might.
Yeah.
You might need life insurance,
Right.
but you probably just need a term life insurance. You don't need a whole life variable annuity policy where they get a 30% commission up
Yeah,
front.
yeah.
And that's, anything where they don't. So the first question is asked if they're a fiduciary. Then you ask about the fees. So how much are you getting compensated for this?
Gotcha.
And if they hesitate to tell you that, that's another red flag. Because
or if they can't answer that. I mean, a lot of them
Yeah.
can't answer that because they really don't know. They just know, and a lot of the times they're employed by an organization where their sales numbers are, dictated by people above them, where they need to sell a certain amount of X or a certain amount of Y. So how could you really be a fiduciary when you do that? I mean, when I talk to people, especially at some of these big public firms, how could you really be a fiduciary as an advisor when you have a bunch of shareholders who are, they're invested?
Yeah.
So as the board, you are ordered by law that, you have to take care of your shareholders first. How do you then take care of your clients first when you have to take care of your shareholders?
So I'm
getting deep, but
a lot of the big firms they don't put themselves out as fiduciaries. They don't allow
their
their
advisors.
advisors to be fiduciaries because they can't live up to that.
Interesting. And the fee structure, you want like an open, direct fee structure. Like
Well,
in
you just
general,
transparent.
like-
It has to be.
Yeah.
The transparency is key.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, and when I talk to my clients, and from the first meeting to pretty much every meeting, we care about two things.
Hello, this is producer Caleb jumping in here to let you know about an exciting upcoming educational opportunity we're offering. On April 8th, WealthRabbit is hosting its first webinar presented by Jason Ackerman. He'll be discussing how simple IRAs benefit small businesses and how WealthRabbit revolutionizes the retirement planning space. You won't want to miss it. Again, join us on April 8th at 2 p.m. and save your spot at the link in the description.
Both as the advisor and what the client cares about, and it's typically performance and fees. Clients want to know how much they're making,
Right.
and how much they're paying. And if you look at it, for all you bad bunnies out there, if you have a financial advisor, if you look at their statements, typically those are the two things they try to hide. One, they try to hide performance because depending on how it is. And two, they try to hide their fees. It's all about value. So, for any good relationship for an advisor and a client, there has to be, trust and transparency.
And how does that translate to the WealthRabbit application? So would you say that WealthRabbit is acting as a fiduciary, or you are like can an entity be a fiduciary, or is it only like individuals are?
Yeah, so we're acting as fiduciaries when you use WealthRabbit and you're on our platform, when you're in our portfolios, we have discretionary power to manage your portfolio, meaning we manage the models that you're in, the investments that you're in. So we're able to move and be proactive with your investments, and we're acting as a fiduciary in your best interest based on the information that you put into the application.
So to answer your question, yes,
Yeah.
we
So
can't be a
WealthRabbit-
fiduciary.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's important. Like we care about WealthRabbit's two things. For the employers, it's to make sure they can run a simple IRA platform easier and better. And for the employees, we want to make sure that you guys are in good investments, good stuff that we believe in, that we would invest in ourselves.
And that's what you've done. So
And
you
that's
worked
what
with-
we've done.
So you've got what is 6 or 7 different funds?
5
5 ETFs.
5 different funds that have different sorts of
Risk,
investments based on
risk
tolerance.
level. Yep.
And those were created through describe the creation process for those 5
Yeah,
different
so
funds, 'cause
we-
those are in.
You want to know how a baby is born?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so we partner with one of the largest asset management companies, and we leverage their CFAs, which is a chartered financial analyst. We leverage their resources, and we build custom models for WealthRabbit. So, when we build these models with our partner here, we look at performance, we look at fees, and then, with them being one of the largest asset manager, they have boots on the ground everywhere. So they can kind of see different trends, how things are moving in the economy and the market, and we kind of adjust those portfolios based on what they're seeing. So, it's in a bunch of exchange traded funds, ETFs, but we're actively managing, the actual diversification inside of those funds, inside of those models.
So would you say they're broadly distributed based on risk level, or are they like the underlying assets? Are they kind of across all industries? They're not like industry specific for any particular thing?
Yeah, I mean, they have some, depending on where we are in the economic cycle and the business cycle, there may be a little bit heavier tech or heavier infrastructure, or have a little bit of gold, so we kind of we're proactive of kind of what we weigh sector wise inside your portfolios.
Okay.
Yeah, I think bottom line is you're getting access to an investment advisor and portfolios designed by CFAs. Mm-hmm. CFA is the hardest test to pass. Mm-hmm. I don't know of a harder test to pass.
No, it's it's definitely harder than CFP.
Yeah, and the CPA. It's a 3-part mega test that you have to take. If you pass that, you have to be very smart, very dedicated to investment advising and portfolio creation. Like, we're giving you basically access to these funds that you wouldn't be able to get on your own, helping us design this from world-class people. Okay. So, that's about as fiduciary as you can get.
Yeah, wow, that's great.
And I think a big thing too is, like, as a employee of a company, or even, any of the listeners here, like, you guys probably aren't investment professionals. You don't know how to invest in the market. Like, we've designed these so that we can help you do that and be proactive and actively manage them from experts. Whereas, even myself, I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not just going to put money, like, pick stocks. Like, right. That's not going to work out well for me. Like, I could get lucky, but you're much better off hiring a fiduciary to help manage your assets.
Any other kind of takeaways that you'd want people to know about that?
Oh, I mean, I think, going back to the fiduciary standards, just making sure that you're partnering and working with fiduciary is probably one of the most important things you can do to set yourself up for the future.
Yeah. So go back. If you have a financial advisor, next time you talk to them, ask them if they're a fiduciary. Make sure you understand the fees, and make sure they have your best interests. It seems simple, but it's not that simple.
That's what a lot of this comes down to. Isn't it? Just simple ideas that are hard to actually execute.
Simple ideas for simple IRAs.
Simple
WealthRabbit. Like and subscribe.
Well, that concludes this episode. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you,
Bad Bunnies.
Thanks to the Bad Bunnies out there.
We'll see you next time.
The WealthRabbit podcast is a production of WealthRabbit, located in sunny Rock Hill, South Carolina. WealthRabbit is the first digitized platform designed to make simple IRA management effortless. We're on a mission to empower small businesses to invest in their team's financial future without the headaches. No hidden fees, no complicated processes, just retirement planning made simple. Go to wealthrabbit.com now to learn more. The views and opinions expressed on the WealthRabbit podcast are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect or state the opinions of WealthRabbit. Comments and remarks on this podcast should not be construed as tax, legal, or other investment advice. Please consult your tax, legal, or investment professional. All investments involve risk. Past performance does not guarantee future results, including the risk of loss. Investments are not FDIC insured.